psychiatric hospitals
Mm-hmm.
either closed or downsized, and that was starting in the 1950s. So by the 60s and 70s, now you got more mentally ill people living on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got suburban areas that are developing, right? So a lot of those shoppers are now they're not shopping in on storefronts in downtown. They're shopping in suburban malls.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah.
But downtown was kind of, it was like the first malls because it was door to door, side by side. Get what you need, shoe store,
Then you got
grocery.
then you got Ronald Reagan in the 80s. Ronald Reagan starts cutting federal housing programs and social services that were included in it. And so now you got more homelessness nationwide. And then you
Mhm.
get the crack epidemic. Um, Now you got downtown areas that are deteriorating. Now
So
those areas are being affected by neglect and then the visibility of homelessness.
yeah, yeah. Too
So
bad
when
we
you
can't
start,
reverse the Reagan issue where he deinstitutionalized the process,
yeah.
but we can't get back to there. We really kind of do need to get back to it.
So when you start looking at all the different things now, but you know why all that stuff happened, Mike?
Nuh-uh.
Because the world is
Oh,
changing.
oh yeah.
The world was changing because the world is always changing.
Hmm.
And things that we would do in the 30s, 40s, 50s, we're not doing in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Just like things we did in the 60s, 70s, 80s, we're not doing it in the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s and beyond. The world changes.
Yeah, is that stuff we need to do, or should we be doing it?
I mean, you know, it,
The things we need to
it's hard
do.
to put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? The genie's out.
yeah.
So, so
Homelessness is so incredibly
yeah.
um, detrimental, as I can see. I drive 160 to Arden every day.
So just
Uh,
imagine
also
if you
downtown.
took some of these malls, right, and you repurposed them.
Hmm.
Whether you repurposed them for, in this case, we're not gonna get into that because it's too
Yeah,
political. But today I'm gonna talk about the repurposing of mall areas into art centers.
yeah.
You know,
Is that where the funds then would go? The 1.4 billion, or would it be like grants to
it
individuals?
would be no, it would yeah, it would be a mixture. It would be a mixture of things. So if you are, let's say you are a promoter, you put shows together, right?
Uh huh.
But you don't have the money, the upfront money to do the show. Well, you can come and get a grant that you have to pay back. But now you don't have to worry about the upfront money
Hmm.
because but you got to have a plan. It's got to be, it's got to be looked at and everything. Mm.
I like it.
But I'm gonna build you an economy. Now, when you're looking for things like, let's just say, in your event, you're hey Deborah, let's say you're doing a play, right? And part of the money that you're using is for building a set. And but because you're part of the California Creative Arts Society, all the set builders are part of, we can find them right there. We can now it can be competitive, you know,
Mhm.
whatever it is that you're looking for. What if you're looking for a set designer? Now you got people to choose from.
Yeah,
You're
I
looking
like
for
it.
music, you got people. And if we do what we're supposed to do right, what happens is you literally start to build in the economy. You literally start, and then instead of the money just going haphazardly out into the ether, now you can look at it. You can see who is really viable and really doing that work.
Yeah, like a little community,
Yeah.
which has its own central kind of mall feel. Cool. Yeah, it's all creative. I think it's great. We need to support each other.
Yeah.
If it takes a quarter-cent sales tax,
so the question is, would people run from that sales tax?
yeah. Well, yeah, half the people would, and half the people won't.
But I think if we saw, first of all, I think you get a lot more support than you would think, just because so many people are affected by the arts. But the one thing that you couldn't afford to do at any time, and that is be haphazard with the money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can't afford it once. You can't,
Yeah.
um, from the very beginning, it got to be right.
I wish. Yeah. I wish everything was like that. Let me finish that thought. But yeah,
Are
we
we live?
are. We're
Okay.
five. We're five.
Are we only live on we're only live on
We're live on your personal page and we're live on YouTube because our sister Johnny Walker is live in the group page for Women Who Jam.
okay, so if we're live, why am I yeah, but we're not live on Facebook.
We're live on your personal page.
No, we're not.
Well, I know you can't see it because of the StreamYard situation, but it's live. And I'm
No,
going to
no,
take
no, no. No, okay, so
see up top where it says you are recording in there, but
okay, so if I'm live there,
yeah, I'm
then
about to add in the group page now because her broadcast is done. It's 5.
okay, so okay, I can see Janet Marie and Del Burney and Jeffrey.
Yeah, I don't
All
know.
right,
I don't know. StreamYard is I don't know.
you ready?
I
You
am.
ready, Mike?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Thank you. Let me find that screen. That's okay. 12 and 12 if you want. 24
Yeah.
total for the first half.
Okay.
Yeah. Right on, J King. Have a great show.
Thank you.
3.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is. I hope it's good for you. My name is Jay King. Welcome to the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. We have a good one for you today. We're going to talk about the creative economy and uh, and why one might be needed. So you might be asking me, Jay, what the hell are you talking about? What is a creative economy? Well, for me, a creative economy is when you take the arts and when I say the arts, I mean music, television, uh, dance, theater, literature, fine arts, uh, um, AI, all of it, whatever makes up what we call something artistic. And you create an ecosystem, and it can be for profit and nonprofit arts centric industries, art centric artists and creative workers that produce and distribute what we call goods and services. I believe that this activity would generate jobs, would generate revenue and cultural engagement. And what we would do is leverage creative skills and talent with the protection of intellectual property rights. I mean, intellectual property rights. And I believe by doing this, we would do something in this state that has never happened in this country before, not at this level, not at the micro level, not at a community level, but it should. And I believe by doing this, we would build an economy that would not only boost our GDP, but would change along with the world that's changing around us. Before we started this show, Mike and I were speaking, and I was telling Mike that that before the fall of what we call downtown shopping, that's where all the shopping took place. It took place in downtown and midtown and states and cities around the country. And everybody had a storefront. And then in the 40s and 50s, we started to get rid of mental institutions. And by getting rid of the mental institutions, we made people that needed help were left to their own devices. Then the 60s and 70s came. And now those people from the 40s and 50s are now homeless. They become a whole community. And then Ronald Reagan happened in the 80s, and he did more defunding of housing programs and such, and created even more homeless. And then the crack epidemic came, and it just destroyed whole communities and just obliterated what we once saw as communities, and helped to escalate what now is a full-blown homeless crisis. And had somebody been doing some thinking in those 50, 60 years of this decline, maybe we wouldn't have got to where we are right now. And could things have stayed the same if we hadn't shut down the mental institutions? I don't know. It's hard to say. But what I know we can't do is put that genie back in the bottle. We can't go back and fix what's already decades down the road done. But what we can do is look at what we can do today for tomorrow by using yesterday's models, the ones that worked, but especially the ones that failed. My name is Jay King. I'm the president and CEO of the California Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm the leader of the group Club Nouveau, best known for our big hit record, Lean on Me, Why You Treat Me So Bad, Situation Number 9, Jealousy, and a host of others. I also do a morning podcast called Kings in the Morning, Monday through Friday on jkingnetwork.com. You can check us out. And on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I do a show called Traffic Jams from 3 to 5 p.m. And on Mondays, I do a show called Politics with Keisha Matthews at 97.5 FM KDEE. And so I love talking. I love thinking. I love using this noodle to be creative. I am a creative person as a songwriter and producer and singer, but just as a appreciator of the arts. I appreciate the arts and artists that participate in them. And on September 17th, at the Sophia Theater in Sacramento, we're doing the first ever Urban Music Awards in Sacramento, the Greater Sacramento Urban Music Awards, where we are highlighting and honoring artists that play on our radio station, 97.5 FM KDEE. It's going to be an incredible, incredible event. It's going to be first class, and it is going to be stellar. It's going to be a night that won't be forgotten in Sacramento, but more importantly, it'll be the beginning of what we believe a creative economy should look like. Now, we're not going to have every genre on this. We're not going to have every genre represented in this particular Urban Music Award, but moving forward, we will. Not only will we have different genres recognized, we want different industries recognized, whether it's in literature, dance, film, theater, the fine arts, and other alternative arts. We want to make sure that in the most populous state in the Union, the fourth largest economy in the world, where creativity and art lives, and quite frankly, was born in Hollywood, we want to make sure that the people whose blood, sweat, and tears have largely gone unnoticed because they haven't had what we call breakthrough success, can at least enjoy a marginalized success that allows them to have a comfortable life and continue to create. So we're going to talk about the creative economy and the plan that I have in my head that will build a comprehensive understanding of an arts ecosystem and a strategic funding model. I'm going to do that again. A strategic funding model to support sustainability, innovation, and access across all sectors of creativity. So get your pen and paper, get your questions. Don't be afraid to engage. If I don't mention a certain artistic style or an industry that you may be a part of that has to do with the art, it doesn't mean that I'm not talking about you, because I am talking about you as well. I'm talking about all of us. And it's going to take just me to make this idea a reality. It's going to take all of us. So if you are an artist and you're listening to this show, I'm talking to you. It's going to take you. We're going to all have to come together, put our brain power together, and create what I believe is going to be the cornerstone of the greatness of California. And it's going to be a building block for just regular old folk to have a job in the arts, whether it's them as a singer, as a producer of a play or a movie, or somebody that's just deep behind the scenes, building everything around you so you can shine. So get ready for this conversation. I'm Jay King, and you're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. We're talking creative economies. when we come back. Well, that
Got it.
that was 12 minutes, right?
That was very good. 12, yes.
Okay. Let me all right. Let me get ready for the next.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, Jay.
It's the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580, and we're talking about a creative economy. We have to develop a plan for a creative economy. Why do we need a plan for a creative economy? What is a creative economy? All those questions are going to probably run through your head, and I'm going to tell you, if you're just stepping in right now, listen to this podcast. You can download the iHeartRadio app and go to the Jay King Show on iHeartRadio and look for the creative economy. It'll be right there. And if you miss any parts of this, don't worry about it. You can go back and listen to it again and again and again. A part of what's happened is in the beginning, we had clubs and we had outlets, community theater, writing workshops for people in literature. We had arts in the school so you could paint. We had all these things that literally acted as a catalyst to build up an artist until they could blossom into what we call a professional. And over time, the same way the world changed on housing or hospitalization or transportation, the world is changing in the arts. There was a time when you couldn't get a record deal unless you were signed to a major label, because you would need the muscle of a major record company to propel you to the big time. Same with film, same with theater, same in the fine arts or dancing. You needed a mechanism to build you up and to propel you. And that's how it was in the 1900s. But we're not in the 1900s anymore. We're in the 2000s. And in the 2000s, we have to be different than we were back then. So when I hear people say, music ain't what it used to be, or films aren't like they used to be, and they start trying to compare today to yesterday, I know those people are old, antiquated, and outdated. You can't do it. You can't compare it because the world is moving on. Just imagine somebody saying the Model T is still the best car ever made. Just how crazy they would sound to you. Now, they may believe it, and in their mind, it may be so. But in the world, it's outdated. So the first thing I'm going to say to you is erase what you think it should be based on what it was. Erase that. And then I want you to think about what you want it to be based on where we are. What would you want as an artist? What would you want it to be? You have access. There was a time when artists couldn't own their catalogs. Well, that time was yesterday. Today, most every artist owns their catalog because most every artist is putting out his or her own music or own film or own content. So the problem with intellectual property is no longer a problem anymore because you own it. See, when I came up, we didn't get to own intellectual property. We had to fight for that right. Today, you own it. But what are you doing with it? What are you doing to make yourself sustainable? How are you engaging And who says that you're the best person to do the engagement or to create the engagement mechanism anyway? Because you might not be. And if you're not, then you need to find somebody to do that. But where are you going to find them? This is why the California Creative Arts Society has to exist. See, we have to create mechanisms for artistic people so that we can help build a foundation for an economy that I believe will not only make creativity sustainable for just regular folk, regular artists who want to, they don't necessarily want to travel all around the world and be here and there and everywhere. They just basically want to enjoy their life and do their art. So we want to make sure that folk can do that. That's why the economy is so important. That's why the creative economy has to be something that's, if you're a creative person, something that you think about every day. Because you will pay into the idea of the Creative Arts Society just by sharing your ideas. And from your ideas, we'll be able to build out the foundation that will be helpful to each and every one of you. So key sectors that we look at, you look at the performing arts, you look at the visual arts, you look at the digital arts, you look at the film and media, you look at literature and publishing, fashion and textile, design and architecture, cultural venues and institutions, creative services. All of these things have to benefit from the creative economy. So when we start talking about performing arts, we're talking about music, dance, theater. When we start talking about the visual arts, we're talking about painting, sculptors, fine art, street art, all of it. So the guy doing the beautiful painting on the canvas and the guy doing the beautiful, cool mural on the side of the building are all included. We talk about the digital art. I'm talking about graphic artists, motion design, animation, light and sound art. We're talking about the new Mike. What do they call it? What's the art that they call now? FTS. What is it called, Mike?
FT transfer? No.
Yeah, what do they call it? Are they called FTS? What do they call Snitchy? Somebody listening know what I'm talking about. It's the digital art that they're buying right now. Come on, Snitchy.
I'm back here trying to figure it out.
FXT. What are they called? Go to Google.
I'm on Google. Yes, I'm
FTS.
I'm trying to.
No, NFTs. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay,
NFT.
okay. I'm gonna start right there. And the newest art form, NFTs. All of these things are going to be encompassed because what we want to do is make sure that we make this foundation fluid. See, we've been building foundations for different things that aren't fluid. They're hardwired for just the one thing for right now. We want a foundation that's fluid, that's changeable, that can grow, that can build, that can create a life of its own. So that way, as new artists, new types of art styles, as it starts to happen, that we can fall right into line with them. Because we haven't even talked about podcasters, but they have to be part of this ecosystem. We have to be deliberate and intentional in protecting art and artistry. It's going to be the cornerstone of the future of who we are for future generations to capture us. It'll be at this level that somebody said creative economies are just as important as any other economy that exists in the United States of America. And I'm not talking about Hollywood. I'm talking about your hood, my hood, your city, my city, your state, my state, so that there can be a connection at the lowest level possible. Again, back in the 70s and the 1900s, there were these speakeasies and these small clubs that a band could do what they called the Chitlin circuit, or, a very cheap tour. And they could just go around the country and they could build their name and build their name and build their name until all of a sudden they were known around the country. That doesn't exist today because the world is changing. And we have to change in a world that's changing. We can't be so hardwired to what we grew up in. We have to be open to possibilities and new ideas and innovation and creativity, the things that we do when we are in studios or in our creative zones. We have to start doing it now as business people, whether we know the business in whole or not. We have to make sure that we can plug into each other. Just imagine if when you finish your music and you're looking for a studio or an engineer, they're right there, they're at your fingertips because the creative economy has them there. Or if you want to make a video, or you need somebody to write a bio, or you need a photographer to take a photo, or you need a graphic artist to design your cover. All of that happens in the creative economy. What I'm talking about is more actual than not. But it's going to be based on your participation mentally and emotionally, how well you think about this, how much you put into it. It's got to happen from the creatives, because it's not going to happen from anybody else. When we come back, we're going to talk about how you, how I, how we can help build this creative economy. You're tuned into 97. You're tuned into 1580 KBLA. You're tuning in. What is it? KBLA. I'm sorry. Let me do it right here, Mike. Yep. You're tuned into KBLA Talk 1580. My name is Jay King, and this is the Jay King Show.
Cool. Got that. Okay. So a 9-minute segment here, if you'd like.
9-minute segment.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you ready?
I am. Yep.
It's the Jay King Show with KBLA Talk 1580. We're talking creative economies and the world that's changing around us. As creative people, the world is changing. So we have to figure out how to make sure that we don't get lost in the sauce in a changing world. So I want to let you guys know that you have creative services that are just as important as the arts themselves. And what I mean by that, when I say creative services, whether it is a manager, a handler of your business, a stage manager, sound and light technicians, publicists, and strategists that help get you to the success level you're trying to get to. They're all part of your ecosystem. They're part of the creative economy. And so I just want you to think about this. You walk into a space and all this energy is happening around you. Performing arts, visual arts, digital arts, film and media, literature and publishing, fashion and textile arts, design and architecture, cultural venues, institutions, creative services, art and education, strategic programs. All this stuff is happening. Do you know how much energy? Do you know what's happening to you right there? Studios, recording studios, producers and writers, all of it. That's what these centers should look like and feel like. They should be in every district. They should have rehearsal spaces. There should be galleries for art studios. There should be labs where you can co-work and figure out how to do it. Where do they go? Where are we going to get these things? Where are we going to find them? Well, guess what's happening right now? Malls all across the country are failing because the world is changing. We're not going shopping anymore. We're shopping online. We can get things right now from Amazon, deliver them to us in a day. We can online shop at any store we want to. And if it doesn't fit right, we can send it right back. So all these mall spaces are going to be empty in a minute. Just imagine if we repurposed the mall spaces. Just imagine if in these repurposed mall spaces, we had all these creative hubs that happened. And then we had a housing area as well. So everything that happened in this creative environment and this economy, we become responsible for it. So that means you have a responsibility to the space you're in. You have a responsibility to take care of it. You have a responsibility to make sure that if you bring somebody in the space that they take care of it. That there are rules and regulations in these spaces because you want to make sure that these spaces stay usable, not just for you. Because as you start to grow and blossom and spread out, you may not be part of the ecosystem anymore because now you have your own ecosystem, but you want to leave it in as good a shape as you found it. These creative hubs or incubators, just imagine if they're in every district. Every city has 3 or 4 of them. Just imagine in these spaces that there are grants and scholarships for you to apply for and win if you're ready. Just imagine if you get to a space to where now you are doing your own shows and you need a loan to put a show up. So now we got these micro loans that can loan you between $5,000 and $50,000. They're low interest loans. It's not about making money from you. It's about making sure that when you take the money, that you pay it back and you put a little more in the pot. There's going to be an education system. You have to be educated on what you're doing, on how to be a professional. Skills and professional development. So you know how to carry yourself. You know, a lot of people look at the creative community and they think sex, drugs, rock and roll. And it probably was in the 1900s. But we're not in the 1900s anymore. In a world that's changing, we have to change. And who would have ever thought that creative arts would be respected in a way that people see it as a benefit to a local economy? Creative economies is going to change our cities, our communities, our states for the better if we control them from a foundational standpoint and ensure that the creativity is positive and uplifting, and that there's a cultural exchange, that there is a multilingual component so that we understand each other, that there are different skills that you can acquire. There has to be a success metric. There has to be a GDP contribution from the creative sector. When I say GDP, gross, why am I
Domestic.
domestic product?
Product? Okay.
Yeah, there has to be a gross domestic product that is put into our economy. There has to be a way for us to measure the number of full-time jobs versus the number of gig-based creatives. There has to be diversity in creative leadership. So it can't be just one group or one style, but we do it from an international standpoint. So it's internationally recognized. If we do what we're supposed to do the right way, new venues and new events could and would be established. So as I think about this, people say, well, what's the timeline for this, Jay? When do you see this creative economy? I see it now. I see us starting to build it out now. And over the next 3 to 5 years, we have a full bloom creative economy that's foundationed and working. When I come back, we're going to talk about how we fund this and how to make this happen. You're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. My name is Jay King, and we'll be right back.
Good. Yeah, good proposal.
Thank you.
4 minutes if you'd like.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's 4 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For combination. Yep, anytime.
All right. You're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jay King, and I hope that you are enjoying this show. I'm 63 years old. So I'm not a young man, and I'm just walking into being an old man. Because at 60, you start being old. From 60 to 79, you're old. When you turn 80, you become elderly. So I'm a young, old man. And I want to make sure that before I check out of this life, that I, number one, show my appreciation for the arts and the life that it has allowed for me, for the people who helped me and taught me and gave to me and supported me, believed in me. You can't do the arts on your own. None of us can. And we need each other. So this is part of my payback for an industry that's been wonderful to me, and that's the industry of creativity. I'd never been on the radio before when I started doing Blog Talk Radio back in 2009. I'd never done a podcast before till I started doing this podcast on StreamYard, and then combining it with what we do on radio. And that's how the radio show, the Jay King Show, happened. I met Mike Murray through KBK doing a show there. And here I am today, recognizing that if we're going to save the arts, that we have to make sure that artists have the opportunity to build, grow, and scale themselves into the superstars that they could be in the future. And that's why the creative economy is so important. And this is where our governments have to engage with us. State of California, you're lucky because you have a state treasurer by the name of Fiona Ma, who is keen on the idea of building a creative economy. She's keen on it. And I'm going to be part of that process. And I'm going to engage with you all and bring you in as quickly as I can and make sure that your voice is heard. I don't care how small you think you are. I want you big in this room. I want you to take advantage of opportunities that I bring in front of you, because I don't know how long I'm around before it's over with, before the lights are out. So you have to make sure that as I bring opportunities to you, that you walk through that door. And not only do you walk through the door, you bring somebody with you. You get somebody else. You prepare somebody else. By doing this, we will ensure that the creative economy isn't just a bunch of words or some pie in the sky idea, but it's an actuality. An actuality that we control, that we pour into, and that we ensure is built to last. When I come back, I'll tell you how I see it. And then you can think about how you think it can happen. It's the Jay King Show with KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay. Yeah, got that.
Okay, good.
Going on segment 5.
This is 4 minutes, right?
It is. Yep.
You're tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. It's about time for us to get out of here. But before we do, I want to tell you something. The creative economy can happen with a quarter of a penny tax. Yeah. In the state of California, if we just added a quarter of a penny to our sales tax, we would generate between 1.4 and 1.5 billion dollars for the creative economy. And with that money, we could create scholarships. We could create microloans. We could establish a few centers in different parts of the state, maybe one in Central California, one in Southern California, one or two in Southern California, so you can have San Diego and then the Los Angeles area. And then in Northern California, you can have the San Francisco Bay Area, then the Sacramento Valley. And then in Central California, you could have one in Fresno or Bakersfield to cover Central. So 5 centers. And in these centers, we could have our hubs. We could have our creative economy councils. We could have our housing. We could have our incubators. They all take place. We could identify different different cities that we could put them in, and it would have an impact on those economies just immediately. And start building infrastructure. So I want you to be on the lookout for the creative economy. When you hear or see something about creative economies, I want you to plug in. And once this council is in order, and I know that I sit in a seat, I'm going to come back to this program and talk to you about it. And your job is going to be to not hold this information close to your chest, but to open up your mouth, make it as big, wide, and loud as you can, and call every creative person you know from every creative sector you know, and let them know there's going to be a creative economy that you have the opportunity to not only be a part of, but to help sculpt for not just us, but future generations just like us. My name is Jay King, and you've been tuned into the Jay King. My name is Jay King, and you've been tuned into the Jay King Show at KBLA Talk 1580. I will see you next time. How's that, Mike?
That was really good. Yes. Good ideas.
Yeah. All right, great. All right, so we're done. We got it done.
Yeah.
So now, Mike, do you think the Republicans would support something like that?
Yeah, I think so. Of course. An arts program? Yeah.
Not an arts program, a creative economy.
Yes.
Full-blown creative economy. I think it will blow people's mind at how much money artists put back into their art and how the dollars would generate. I think it will blow people's mind of how artists. This is so needed. Thank you for your time. Be sure to learn AI. Yes. Yep, Stephanie, road managers too. It's for everybody. It would be an economy for everybody, a creative space for road managers to find other clients and everything. Yeah. So that is my charge.
Yeah. Have you had preliminary talks with, obviously you said Fiona Ma?
Yeah. So now I'm going to meet with the legislature. I'm going to meet with some key legislators and see if they would carry the water for me on a quarter of a penny tax for a creative economy.
Yeah. I think it's possible. tax hikes are hard.
Yeah, but I think a quarter of a penny is so minimal. It's not like we're asking for 7.5 cents or 9 cents like you did with gas. Asking for a quarter of a penny. A quarter of a penny to help the country, to help build an economy. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So well, I'm gonna see if I'm convincing because I'm gonna
And
bring it in front of them.
this is a
Huh?
nationwide program or California wide?
California.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
An initiative may be a way to go.
yeah, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna talk to Angelique Ashby, Senator Ashby, and see if she would engage with me on this.
Yeah, and I would think some of the LA assembly members would.
Yeah, yeah,
That's their constituents.
yeah. So I think if somebody could do a tour, uh, because everything is connected. So when you come to Sacramento, you could play Chico, you could play Redding, you could play Orville, you could play Vacaville, you could play Stockton, you could play Lodi, you could play Modesto. There are other places you could play that are just Manteca. These are you know Richmond, Vallejo, Fairfield. They're all right there, so you can pick and choose what areas. But you could put a nice tour together and not just generate money for your act, whatever it is, but also, you know, put money into that economy.
Mhm.
And so the money starts to kind of like stay circular. It never leaves the state. It never leaves the community. It literally starts to, you know, it just goes back between pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to create culture and foster culture.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do we
Anyway,
support the redistricting?
um, I do and I don't. Um, I support 50 could not be out of necessity. Um, in my if we didn't have the danger of Donald Trump gerrymandering in Texas and other states, then I would say no. I would never support anything like that. But because the gerrymandering has taken place, and Donald Trump has said in no uncertain terms that he is on the Andrew Johnson train. And
Mhm.
Andrew Johnson thought black people to be inferior. I can only imagine that Donald Trump believes that about me, because he is, and that's why he has Andrew Johnson in the White House, prominently displayed. It's why he's trying to erase our history and doing different things. And California is uh, is the only state that can really match Texas because we have the most populous state in the union and we're the fourth largest economy in the world. So we have that kind of firepower. So yeah, I support 50, but with an asterisk, you know. And I tell people I'm not Democrat nor Republican. So um, but I think the Democrats have fumbled the ball so bad and they've told so many lies, um, and they're just disappointing as a party for me. And it's the reason why we're in the shape we're in is because the Democratic Party was more concerned about its leadership and protecting its leadership than it was about the people. And the one thing I respect the Republican Party for is they let Donald Trump compete. Donald Trump competed against the best they had, and they wanted Jeb Bush and put $100 million behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeb Bush got beat by Donald Trump,
Mm-hmm.
and the Democratic Party didn't do the same on their side. They wanted Hillary Clinton. They fixed it for Hillary Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
and so Hillary Clinton won. But she didn't really have the support of the people. I believe Bernie Sanders had the support of the people, and I think Bernie Sanders understood politics enough that he wouldn't have gone far left with socialism, because he couldn't, because you got to still satisfy business people. And but Bernie Sanders wasn't in the race, so we don't know. Hillary Clinton was in that race, and Hillary Clinton could not beat Donald Trump because she didn't beat Bernie Sanders. So, so I support Proposition 50 holding my nose.
Okay. Yeah. You said with an asterisk. There's no
Yeah.
asterisk on the ballot. So you're gonna have to vote yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's why I say I supported holding my nose. I don't like gerrymandering, but it's like, hey, I don't, you're in a fight with a guy, and you got your fist and he's got a gun or he's got a knife. You say, hey man, I'm not trying to fight to kill you. We're gonna fight, and that guy has a gun or a knife. What are you gonna do? You're gonna fight him?
I think of it more of he made a chess move. He made a chess move.
Yeah, it was horrible. Well, it's gerrymandering. Chess move or not, it's still gerrymandering.
Texas could do it though. They're not changing laws to do it.
No, Texas could because the people don't have a voice. Fortunately for us, we have a voice, so we have to debate it out, talk about it, hear and see both sides, and then we get to vote for it. Unfortunately, the people of Texas don't have that option. So the legislature made that choice for them, even though the majority of the people don't want it. It doesn't matter. They don't have the power. We have the power. And so I'm saying to people that talk to me, people that listen to me, under normal circumstances, I would not vote for anything to change, to give power to a legislative body when I already have it. And we've already done this. We've already drawn these lines. But, in dangerous times, you have to do dangerous things. B. Butch said in California, we have so many artists and venues from Southern California to the Oregon border. There could be a continuous act coming every week to each town. Yeah, and because of that, B. Butch, you could really make it more affordable, because the artists could travel. It wouldn't have to charge as much, because they can go from town to town and they can make a decent living. But because you're only going to go someplace and do one date, that one date has to absorb the total cost. But just imagine if you were in an area and you played 4 dates. So if you did the one date and it would cost you $20,000 to have you, but if 4 cities had you, it would cost $7,500. Well, guess what? You cut what they're going to get. You cut it by 60%. The cost for them. So now instead of them having a fee of $20,000, they're only paying $7,500. And now every city is paying $7,500. That's $30,000. As an artist, you're going to make more money because now you got $30,000. And you're going to be there longer, but guess what? You're making $30,000 as a fee in those 4 dates. And now, because you're on a tour, you're going to probably sell merchandise. You're going to build a relationship. You're probably play in a smaller venue. The next time you come around, you can play a little bigger venue. And now, instead of getting 7,500, maybe you're getting 12,000. But that's again times 4. So instead of getting $30,000 this time, now you're getting 48,000. And before you know it, you start to build up to where you can play bigger venues and create more revenue. That's the idea. The idea is to recreate what once was in a different manner, and let the cities benefit from the ecosystem, because that's what the ecosystem is built to do. And don't make it so rigid. Make it where it can be fluid. All right, Mike, I know you got to get back to doing what you're doing. Mike, I think I owe you money too. Great job, King. Okay, thank you everybody for tuning in. And Mike, I'll send you what I owe you.
All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate it, Jay. Good stuff. I'll send this out, post it tonight.
Everything.
Right on.